My guest at this time is a former WWE Intercontinental and WCW United States champion. He can be heard as the voice of Lance Fury on an upcoming episode of Corner Gas. It is Lance Storm. Lance, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me today.
No, my pleasure. I'm really excited about this episode of Corner Gas. I don't know if people realize how big of a fan of the entire franchise I am. So this is a big deal for me. I'm pretty excited.
Well, yeah, Lance, like here's like so I got an advanced copy of it. So I've already seen the episode. And Lance, you have every reason to be excited about this thing, man. I think fans are gonna get to see like it's weird because you're a character, but I think this shows like a different side of you getting to do this episode. Do you think that's fair to say?
I think so. Yeah. I think too that when I was sent the script, I think they were wondering whether I'd be cool with it.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, of course I would be. It's like it's an animated comedy series. It's like it's whatever you want it to be. But yeah, they were all really cool. Like even the media stuff and the like I had to approve the graphic of my character and I got to approve the promotional just like do what you like. It's like I just want to be on the show.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, you proved well. You look very muscular, in the show. Lance Fury is. So wait, so you said there that they thought that you may not want to do this role. So for the fans out there that don't know, Lance Fury is this. He's a wrestler, but he's like a former pro wrestler who's a big name wrestler who is retired to like launch a gardening podcast.
Podcast.
Right?
Yes.
Have I gotten that right?
You've got that right. Yes. A
Okay.
former wrestler, current gardening podcaster,
Okay. Got
botany enthusiast.
yeah,
And it's funny because I am, for the most part, a retired pro wrestler that's a podcaster now.
sure.
But yes, I don't cover gardening. And I think just when, again, I don't even like using the word, but when they deal with celebrities, it's like, some people might be a little more protective of their image. And I think too, now I don't think Brent would because I've met him and I know him a little bit, but
Sure.
when you see, if I can be serious for a minute, Lance Storm that never smiles, you don't know how seriously he takes himself and whether he's going to appreciate some of the lighter hearted, fancy Lancey comments in the show.
Yes. Yeah, Lance, because like that's the thing is you are Mr. Serious, right? You're the Iceman, and like here you are, and you're playing this kind of ridiculous gardening wrestling character, lots of fun one-liners and stuff. Like, what does it mean to you to get to show this comedic side of yourself to the fans and like let them in and see more of this side of you, I guess. It's
Well, I
lighter.
really enjoy it, but it's funny in that Lance Fury is still very much a serious guy that's about what he wants to do.
Yeah.
It's just the situation is funny. And I think if it wasn't for the if I can be serious for a moment, Lance Storm, I don't know if Lance Fury, the gardening enthusiast, is as funny. And I think that's the brilliance of the writing is that the character, while being very much me, is completely not me.
Sure, sure. All right. Well, there, wrap your head around that one. Now, you mentioned you're a huge fan. So this show, Corner, I'm here in the States. I'm only just now really picking up on Corner Gas. Believe it or not, I got into this thing like a couple weeks ago. Now, and this is before I knew that you were on the show. Anything like I heard about it, and I'm a huge King of the Hill fan, and it sounded like Canadian King of the Hill a little bit, and it resonated with me. Like I really enjoyed the show, and I'm starting to just now kind of get into the real life version of it. It became this animated series. What was it like for you as a hardcore fan to meet Brent Butt, work with him, and like get to be a part of this universe?
It was a lot of fun because I discovered I think the show again the live series if you will
Right,
sort of been dubbed the Canadian Seinfeld
right.
in that except they're in small town in Saskatchewan doing nothing rather than being in New York City. But again, it's very much like Seinfeld in that it is all about the characters. If it wasn't for such great characters, it's like, okay, it's small town Saskatchewan. They're not doing that much, but they're just such great characters and really good writing.
Right.
So I think the show was about 2 seasons in when I discovered it. Got season 1 on DVD for Christmas and was just hooked. And I actually had a buddy of mine who works in film trying to get to the right people to suggest me for a cameo in the live series because they had quite a few cameos in it. And the show wrapped up before it would come to fruition. And then I ended up, I think I went to a stand-up show in Red Deer, Alberta, and met Brent. He is a wrestling fan, so we sort of connected on Twitter first. and I had kind of hoped that I might be able to finagle my way into a cameo in the Corner Gas the movie,
Oh, okay.
and it never came about. So then when they reached out and asked if I was interested in the animated series, I was like, yes, finally my chance. And again, I was going to be extremely happy if I was just a cameo. And as it turns out, you know, Sound and Fury, the name of the episode, it's like the episode is about me. It's not just a cameo. I'm actually a big part of it. So I'm really excited. And if I don't have enough Canadian wrestling star power for you, Bret Hart is also in it. You'll get to see Lance Storm and Bret Hart wrestle for the first time ever, as well as an audio cameo by Trish Stratus.
That's true. Yeah, she plays the Siri type voice. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the episode, but yeah, you are the episode. Brett's like your second fiddle, man. He's the bad mechanic. He gets like 2-3 lines, right? He has to, you know. Again, I don't want to spoil it, you know, but he's not the big player here. What was it like for you to work with Brett, you know, on this type?
Well, I didn't really.
Yeah.
In that, you know, I went to the studio with Brent, and actually at the time, I'm trying to think whether it was when I recorded. I think it might have actually been because, again, it was my connection through Brent that he wrote the episode.
Okay.
And then he was asking me for suggestions on who could play my nemesis. And so I had made a couple of suggestions, and they eventually asked if, you know, I'd reach out to Brett. So I texted Brett and said, "Would you mind if I passed on your information to the people at Corner Gas Animated?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And I did the same with Trish. And then they contacted them, and obviously they both agreed to do it. So
Wow.
it was pretty cool. Yeah. Part of me was half hoping that they might be able to get Jericho to do my nemesis, but I think for Canada, Bret Hart worked out well. And again, I think Jericho being in the States made it a little more of an issue. SAG versus ACTRA in the Canadian acting unions or whatever.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Inside baseball. I have no idea. Uh, I genuinely have no idea. So
Yeah,
with this,
Screen Actors Guild is the American actors union, if you will, and ACTRA is the Canadian one.
there used to be, and I don't want to go off on a beat path, but after it used to be SAG after here in the States, right? And then did they merge? So did AFTRA lived on? It doesn't live on in Canada then? Is that what?
It's ACTRA. It's an
Ac-
AC. Yeah,
ACTRA. Oh, I
yeah,
was thinking AFTRA. Well,
yeah. And I
we've lost 90% of the people right now. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
but yeah, I was lucky in that I had done a couple of films and some stunt acting on a few television series that filmed up here. So I was already a member, so it made it easy to get all the paperwork done and do the guest spot, which was so much fun. But yeah, as far as working with Brent and I were the only two that were in studio recording here in Calgary for the episode. He read all of the other characters so I could do my lines, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you talk about Corner Gas is like, oh, knock something over. That's fine. You talk about Corner Gas and how it's like Canadian Seinfeld. That would make Brent kind of the Seinfeld of Corner Gas, right? Like, what was?
Oh, absolutely. And he changed his last name, but he is basically, Brent Butt is his real name, but Brent Leroy is the character in the show.
Right.
And again, I think I joke about it. It's like, it's good that they don't make me stretch too much for my character. I think both Seinfeld and Brent are in that boat too, where it's easier if you just play yourself.
Yeah, and so he's like, again, I'm in the States where it's like Corner Gas is, catching wind. Like I'm aware of it, right? But in Canada, you talk about huge deal. This guy's a big deal. What's it like for you to befriend this guy? How big of a wrestling fan is he? Is he a big Lance Storm fan? Like, what's going on here with this guy?
At least he was smart enough not to portray himself as a big Lance Storm fan, but he certainly knew who I was.
Okay.
Again, he grew up in Saskatchewan, so he would have grown up on Stampede Wrestling.
Okay.
So he was probably a bigger Bret Hart fan, to be honest. But I got to know him a bit, so he got the idea for the podcasting deal because that's it too. I talked to him not a fair bit, but occasionally, and he had been doing the Butt Pod, Brent Butt podcast, and I was talking to him, trying to coordinate getting on and doing that with him, which may have been what sparked the idea in the first place. But yeah, it's a really big deal for me. And again, there's wrestling references in the original series. So he was obviously a wrestling fan growing up in Canada, as all Prairie Boys would be big fans of Stampede Wrestling.
Yeah. And so voice acting, you talk about how you've been doing stunt work. So is this, right now, obviously everything's really weird in the entertainment business, but is that something that you're making more and more of a focus as time goes by and that you're looking to do more of?
It's certainly something I'd be open to. I'm not actively pursuing it. To be perfectly honest, it came about. There's a stunt coordinator here. I don't know if he's based in Alberta or BC, but he's a wrestling fan. And there was a movie project, Painkillers. You've probably not heard of it at all.
Okay.
If you did, it's probably the wrong film you're thinking of.
Got it.
But they needed a couple of big people. So when you're in Alberta and you need a couple of big people for some parts, they think, well, what about the wrestlers out here? And someone just suggested I go down and read. And he was a wrestling fan and needed a guy for a bit of a fight scene, and I got the gig.
Nice.
And then he was a stunt coordinator on 2 other television shows, and he gave me a call and said, "Do you want to come down and read for it?" I'm like, "Sure." And I assuming I do a good enough job and I'm easy to work with, so I've done pretty much every film or TV series I've been in. I'm the guy that gets in a fight and gets beat up and loses, but it's been a lot of fun. I did Damnation, which was a USA Netflix show,
Familiar.
and I was in season 1 of Winona Earp, which is a really unique sci-fi series. So it was a lot of fun. Also did, though this wasn't through the same guy, Chokeslam, the movie, which we filmed in Saskatchewan. So
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Well, a lot of fans obviously know you most recently. It sounds like you've been working backstage as a producer. So what's going on? Are you still furloughed from WWE or no? What's going on right now?
well, I was, again, they want to say furloughed, but with my visa and my contract, because I had to have different paperwork
Oh.
to enable me to get the work visa, that they had to terminate my contract to not pay me. So I was straight up released,
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. I was
which
under the
is,
impression you've been furloughed. Okay, gotcha.
well, it just, you can't do it the same way. Cause again, really the only difference between furloughed and fired is, they don't actually file the paperwork to terminate you, and then they hope to bring you back. And I was told that, basically you're furloughed or whatever. We hope to bring you back at some point, but with I had a different contract to enable a visa. Um, they have to terminate the contract to not continue to pay me, so they did,
Wow.
and which is why I was able to do the cameo on AEW Dynamite for the Jericho 30 uh, anniversary celebration. I got to send in a video for that
That,
because
that's why I was gonna wonder. I was kind of wondering what was going on with you. I think a lot of fans have been kind of wondering what's going on with you. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah, so I'm really in a position where I've got a lot of things I could be doing and want to be doing, but to do them, I have to cross to the US. And as of right now, there are still a closed border.
Yeah.
There are some legal loopholing you can do if you're willing to bend the rules and ignore quarantines, but that's not something I'm willing to do. So until the border situation improves, I sit home and do a weekly podcast on the Wrestling Observer site and watch Corner Gas Animated Monday nights on CTV Comedy.
So wait, this was kind of I mean, I don't want to say a gamble when you went to WWE as a producer, but you've produced some fantastic talent, Lance. Like I've talked to so many students that went through the Storm Wrestling Academy, and you had to you had to close the school to go to work for WWE. Is the school still closed then too? I would guess because of the pandemic and everything.
Well, the school is closed because I closed it. I'm done with it.
Done with. Okay,
Uh,
no, it's not coming back then. It's done.
not under my plans. No, that was a major undertaking, and it ran its course. And it was a situation that I was looking to shut it down, and I reached out to see what my employment options were because I wanted to shut it down. And WWE made me a pretty quick offer to go, and I jumped at it, and it was going great until March of this year when everything hit the fan, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I wanted to ask you about a couple of the people that you had trained here. First of all, Dominick Mysterio, man. Did you see in this guy when you were working with him what we're all seeing right now? I mean, I feel like he's got to be a top 5 babyface on WWE TV at the moment.
Yeah, he showed an aptitude right away. He had done a bit of training before he got to me,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was a really good kid, picked it up well, and he obviously is benefiting greatly by having them take care of him and working with really good people. But yeah, he's doing phenomenally, and I couldn't be more proud of him. And yeah, he and Ray have just been traded to SmackDown. So if you want to watch SmackDown on Friday nights, you'll get to see
Yeah.
Dominic and Rey Mysterio. So.
I saw you tweet out just a couple hours ago that you were a big fan of the Roman Reigns Jey Uso stuff that closed out SmackDown, man. Do you get the vibe that like SmackDown is now WWE's A show? I feel like between the Roman stuff and the Mysterio stuff, it's just it's a much more packed, fulfilled show each week than Raw seems to be these days.
Again, certainly this week,
Yeah.
the trade, but again, I think the Roman thing with Heyman has just hit on all cylinders and been absolutely fantastic. And the Rey Mysterio thing has been doing really well on Raw. So moving it to SmackDown certainly bolsters that. And they've got Bailey and Sasha too, which is, so I think other than, Drew McIntyre, which has been doing well, although I do feel like everyone's ready for him to move on to something new from the Randy Orton program. It's like, I think Raw, as far as the big top things, it's like they still have the Hurt Business that's fresh and on fire, but there's at least three of the top five things in WWE on SmackDown. And with it being the smaller show, it's really coming off like a Friday nights or a loaded must see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like you got Wyatt and Alexa over here, which is awesome. They're great. I think you're right about Hurt Business and Drew. This retribution thing, man. I don't know if you watched Raw this week or not, but like,
I haven't seen it yet, but I know it. Yeah, I'm on the same page with you, I think.
dude, wait, are these guys dead on arrival? Like, what happened here with retribution? Like, it doesn't feel promising. That's not what I would call confident booking when you have the biggest guy in the group tap out on Monday night.
Yeah, I wouldn't be the most excited if I was in the group. I think Mercedes Martinez might be breathing a sigh of relief.
You mean Retaliation? Use her proper name.
Sorry. She's not Retaliation anymore. She's been the Survivor and scooted out perhaps before whatever they're doing now is happening.
All right. The last one I would ask you about, Pillman Jr., man. I love Brian Pillman Jr. I've gotten to see a lot of him here at Warrior Wrestling in Chicago. He's kind of walking the line with MLW and AEW, but what do you see as the potential for this guy? How does he compare contrast to his dad, Brian Pillman Sr.?
Well, it's not fair to compare them to their dad because you compare, especially when he got to me, he hadn't done anything yet. So you're comparing a kid that's, starting out in day one, and you compare it to his dad at his peak. So it's not really a fair comparison. And to be honest, I haven't been able to see I think I've seen, one of his AEW dark matches. So I haven't been able to see a lot of his work of late, but he's certainly a character like his father was.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. You got to be a character to rock a mullet like that. You got to have some confidence, some swag.
He's certainly, he's jumped in with both feet on the mullet. That's for sure.
And so, yeah, you did. You popped up on AEW as part of the Jericho celebration. So now that you're free and clear of, WWE stuff, I mean, would you entertain, coming to work at AEW in some capacity? Is that something that interests you or no?
I'm interested in working anywhere and will entertain anyone that gives me a decent offer. But again, I've got to wait for the damn border to open up. So I'm waiting to see what happens on November 3rd, and then waiting to see what happens moving forward on that, and see if the U.S. can get their stuff together and get this border opened up.
We're trying, Lance.
We're hoping.
Some of us are trying. Many of us are trying. It would be nice if we all did together, but we're doing our best. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, Lance, you're fantastic. You guys and gals, you have to go out. Sound and Fury, the Corner Gas episode. It's dropping Monday in Canada, right? The 26th. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we don't know when it'll be available in the States quite yet. Is that also right?
Yeah, we don't have a release date, but like you said, I think it's Internet Movie, IMDb TV is got I think the first two seasons, so the third will eventually end up there. I think outside of Canada and the US is Amazon Prime.
That's where I'm watching it, is on Prime right now.
Okay, yeah, so it's on Amazon Prime, but yeah, I don't know when the third season will drop in the US, but Canadians, Monday, October 26th, CTV comedy, Corner Gas Animated, season 3.
And for you, where do you want to send people to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things, Lance?
You can follow me at Lance Storm on Twitter, as well as at Storm Wrestling Academy on Instagram. I'm in the midst this month. I'm doing my Storm 30 every day. I'm sharing photos from a different year of my career. I started October 1st with 1990 when I broke in, and I've been doing 1 year each day. I think today I posted the 2009 photos. So
it was Ring
of
the
end of the month.
Yeah, it was some photos from Ring of Honor, if I got that correct, right?
Yeah, it was when I did I tagged with the now Kevin Owens against Davey Richards and Chris Hero, and then did the single with Chris Hero. I really enjoyed both matches a lot. Tagging with Steen in Canada was a lot of fun. And I think those were the majority of the photos. And also because I'm now into needing more photos because I didn't have that many matches in my later years, I've also added a photo of the student that trained with me that year that has made it to the greatest success. And in 2009, Saxon Huxley of NXT UK trained with me, and he is now in NXT UK.